Hello and welcome to my EDEXCEL GCSE Maths Foundation Paper 2 predicted paper for this summer. Before we begin, some general information. Firstly, I'd highly recommend that you download and try doing this paper before watching the walkthrough. I've put a link in the description so you can download it to try first. The paper perfectly covers the advanced topic list material released by AQA in February 2022. All of the questions are original and created by myself, so you won't find these questions in any other paper. And finally, there's no guarantee that questions will be asked exactly in this way, but this is excellent practice for your summer exams. We need to round this number to the nearest thousand, so if we write it out, the number that's in the thousands column is the 3 here. So we draw a line after this number, and then check the number to the right of the line, so that's a 7 here. Since it's 5 or greater, we're going to round up, so the 3 will round up to a 4, so it's 4,000. To change a percentage to a decimal, you just times it by 100, so we do 0.4 times 100, which gets you 40%. Since this shape has 5 sides, it's a pentagon, and the name of a line that goes across a circle like this is a chord. A multiple of 4 is any number in the 4 times table. So let's write out the 4 times table, and then we're after numbers that are between 30 and 39. So the only two possible answers are 32 or 36. We only need to write down one of them, so I'm going to choose 32. For part A on this question, you may want to draw a number line. If we mark on all of the numbers from the question with crosses like this, then you can see the smallest one is -5. Then it's -3, then it's 0, then it's 2, and then it's 4. For part B of this question, we can just use our calculator to turn the fractions into decimals. So for 2/3, just do 2 divided by 3, which is 0.6 recurring. For 7/10, it's 7 divided by 10, that's 0.7. And then 3 divided by 5 is 0.6, and 13 divided by 20 is 0.65. Now we have these as decimals, it's easy to see which is the smallest, so 0.6 is the smallest one, which was 3/5. Then it's 0.65, which is 13 over 20. Then it's 2/3, and finally 7 over 10. For this question, we need to understand what the symbols are. This symbol means greater than, this symbol means less than, and this symbol means equal to. 26 is definitely greater than 20, so we'll put a greater than symbol. For the next one, it's easier to use a number line. So if we mark on -7 and -4, you can see that -7 is less than -4, so we'll use a less than sign. For this next one, it's easy to write these out one on top of the other, like this. If you then look down the columns, they both have a 3 here, that's the same, so move to the next one, and we have a 2 and a 0, which means the 3.2 must be greater, because 2 is greater than 0. So we put a greater than sign. And for the last question, 4 squared equals 16, since it's 4 times 4, and 8 add 8 is also 16, so we'd use an equal sign. In this question, we're asked to give the total time in minutes. So we'll take the 1 hour 15 minutes that Erica revises for and convert it into minutes. 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So this is just 60 plus 15, which is 75 minutes. To get the total time, we take Erica and Sean's times and add them together, so 75 add 35, which gets you 110 minutes. For this question, I'm going to draw the line EF on the diagram in red. For part A, we need to find a line that's perpendicular to this line. Perpendicular lines meet at right angles, so you can see the right angle on the diagram, so this green line here must be the answer, which is ED. For part B, we need to find a line that's parallel. Parallel lines never meet, so if you draw on the blue line here CB, you can see that it's parallel because if you extended both of the lines, they would never meet. So the answer is line BC. In this question, we have 48 counters and we're told 20 are red. So if we write down red equals 20, since the counters are only red and green, we can do the total, take away the 20 red to get the number of green. So green is 48 take away 20, which is 28. We now need to write the ratio of the number of red to the number of green. So that's 20 to 28. We need to give this in simplest form though, so if we divide by 2 on both sides, we'll get 10 to 14. If we divide by 2 again, we'll get 5 to 7. We can't simplify this any further, so the answer is 5 to 7. For part A, we have an input of 11, so we take 11 and then we add 1 to it, which gets you 12, and then we take that 12 and divide it by 3, which gets you 4. So the output is 4. For part B, we're told the output though, so we need to go backwards. When we go backwards, we use the inverse operations. So we start with our output, and then instead of divide 3, we times by 3, and then instead of plus 1, we subtract 1. So we'll start with 7 and times it by 3, which gets you 21, and then take that 21 and take away 1, and that gets you 20. So when the output is 7, the input will be 20. In this question, there are 380 seats at the theatre, and 124 of those are sold to adults. So the rest must be sold to children, so we do 380, take away 124, and we get 256 child tickets. We're told in the question the price of an adult ticket is £20, and we know there are 124 of those, so we do 124 times 20, which gets you £2,480. We're also told the child ticket price is £7.50, and we just worked out there were 256 of those, so we do 256 times £7.50, which gets you £1,920. To work out the total amount of money, we add both of those together, which gets you £4,400. For this question, take a ruler and measure the height of the traffic light. This comes out at around 3 centimeters. You also want to measure the height of the building, and this comes out at about 12 centimeters. You can see from this that the building is 4 times as tall as the traffic light. In the question, we were told the traffic light is actually 6 meters tall. So if we times this by 4, we get the height of the building, which is 24 meters. For part A, we need to find out how many students scored less than 6 marks. If you look at the diagram, you can see for 4 marks there was 1 student, and for 5 marks there were 3 students. So we do 1 add 3, which gets you 4. For part B, we need to find the modal mark. The mode is the one with the highest frequency. If you look at the graph, you can see the line with the highest frequency is this one. That means 9 is the modal mark. For part C, we need to find the median mark. This is the middle mark when they're all written in order. If you look at the first line of the graph, you can see the frequency is 1. This means 1 student scored 4 marks, so there's 1 4. If you look at the next line, the frequency is 3, so 3 students scored 5 marks, so we'll put 3 5s. There are also 3 6s, 3 7s, 4 8s, 6 9s, and 3 10s. Now to find the middle mark, we cross off pairs of numbers from the ends, like this. Until we reach the middle, and you can see the middle number is 8. In this question, we're told that half of the matches are played at home and the other half away. So if we take the total games 38 and divide it by 2, we find out there were 19 home and 19 away games, so we can add this to the table. We're told that 12 of their home games are wins, so we can add this. 2 of their home games are losses, we can add that. We have 8 of their away games are draws, we can add this too. And 5 of the games during the season are losses, so we can put 5 in the total column for lose. If we now look at the home games, we know these 3 numbers here need to add to make 19, which means the missing number is 5. If we look at the lose column, we can see that these 2 numbers here must add up to make 5, so the missing number is 3. If we look at the away games, these 3 numbers must also make 19, so the missing number is 8. And if we add the wins here, we'll get the total wins, which is 20. And if we add the draws here, we'll get the total draws, which is 13. In this question, we're asked to give our answer in grams. So the first thing we'll do is rewrite 1 kilogram as 1,000 grams. It says Elizabeth buys 1/5 of a kilogram, so we're going to take that 1,000 grams and divide it by 5, which gets you 200 grams. So that's Elizabeth's amount. For Jenny's, it's 3/8 of 1 kilogram, so first of all do 1,000 divided by 8 to get 1/8, which is 125, and then to get 3/8 times this by 3 to get you 375. So that's Jenny's. For Natasha, it says 9/10 of the amount that Elizabeth buys. Now Elizabeth bought 200 grams, so we'll do 9/10 of 200. So 200 divided by 10 gets you 20, that's 1/10, and to get 9/10 we times this by 9, so 20 times 9 is 180, and that's Natasha's amount. To get the total we just add all of the amounts together, so 200, add 375, add 180, gets you a total of 755 grams. To find a percentage profit we will use the formula change divided by original times 100. In the question, Jim buys the wardrobe for £30 and sells it for 44, so the change is 44 take away 30. The original amount is £30 since that's what the wardrobe was bought for, and then we times by 100. On the top, if we do 44 take away 30, that's 14, divide by 30 and times 100. If you type this into your calculator, we get 46.6 recurring. Notice in the question it said to give your answer to one decimal place, so if we rounded this, it would be 46.7%. To find the mean from a table, we add an extra column and then multiply the detentions by the frequencies. 0 times 12 is 0, 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2, and 3 times 3 is 9. We can then add up the final column here, which gets you the total number of detentions, which is 15. If you add up the frequency column, you get the total number of students, which we were told in the question is 20. To find the mean, you do the total number of detentions, 15, divided by the total number of students, 20, which gets you the answer 0.75. We'll leave this as a decimal because it told us to in the question. To complete this table, we're going to write 2x minus 1 out, but substitute x for each of the x values in the table. So we'll start with 2 times negative 2 take away 1, which gives you negative 5, so we'll add that to the table. They've already done negative 1 for us, so we'll move on to 0, so it's 2 times 0 take away 1, which gets you negative 1, so add that to the table. 2 times 1 take away 1 gets you 1, and 2 times 2 take away 1 gets you 3, and they've done 3 for us. We can then plot each of the corresponding coordinate pairs, so negative 2 with negative 5, negative 1 with negative 3, 0 with negative 1, 1 and 1, 2 and 3, and 3 and 5. We can complete the question by drawing a straight line through these points. In this question we need to find the angle BAC, which I've marked with a question mark. First of all we can find this angle here, which is 65 degrees, because it's the same as the angle vertically opposite to it. We should give a reason for this because we're asked to in the question. So angles CDE and ACB are vertically opposite, so they are equal. Now we have a triangle where we know 2 of the angles, so we can find the missing one. If you add the 2 together that we know, so 70 add 65, that's 135, and then take this from 180, you'll get the answer 45 degrees. And that's the answer to the question. We should also explain this part with a reason, so I would say angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. We're told the probability that Olivia wins is 0.3, so the probability she doesn't win, which means she loses in this case, is 1 take away 0.3, which is 0.7, so we can add this probability to the lose branch. On her second attempt the probabilities won't have changed, so it's also 0.3 and 0.7. For part B of this question we need to work out the probability Olivia does not win a prize. This means she loses both times, so we go along lose, and then lose again. When you move along the branches of a probability tree, you multiply the probabilities, so we need to do 0.7 times 0.7, which gives you 0.49. When you have a bracket raised to a power, you just multiply the indices, so in this one we'll multiply 3 and 4 to get 12, so the answer is m to the power 12. For this next one we need to divide. We'll start by dividing the coefficient, so 20 divided by 4, which gives you 5. Then looking at the a's, we have a to the 9 divided by a to the 3. When you divide these, you subtract the indices, so 9 take 3 is 6, so it's a to the power 6. Finally, with the b's, we have b to the power 10 and b squared. We take away the indices again, so 10 take away 2 gives you 8, so it's b to the power 8. We can expand these brackets using FOIL. So we do x times x, which is x squared, x times negative 2, which is negative 2x, 6 times x, which is plus 6x, and then 6 times negative 2, which is negative 12. We can simplify the x terms here, so we have x squared, negative 2x add 6x is plus 4x, and then negative 12. To factorise this, we first of all look at the coefficients 12 and 2. We find the highest common factor of these, which is 2. We then look at the letters, so here we have y and y squared. The highest common factor here is just y. And now we're ready for the brackets part. To work out what goes in the brackets, we consider what do we multiply 2y by to get 12y, and that's 6. We then put a minus, and then we consider what do we multiply 2y by to get 2y squared, and that's just y. So now it's factorised. In this question, the car has a value of £20,000, but it's going to lose 15% of its value each year. Losing 15% corresponds to a multiplier of 0.85, and this is going to happen for 3 years, so we put that to the power 3. If you type this into your calculator, you'll get £12,282.50, which is clearly greater than 12,000. In this question, we have an exchange rate which is £1 is equal to 1.25 euros. This means to go from pounds to euros, you multiply by 1.25, and to go from euros back to pounds, you divide by 1.25. In the question, we've got £440, which we need to convert to euros, so we do 440 times 1.25, which gets you €550. 470 of these euros are then spent, so we do 550 take 470, which gives you €80, and then we need to convert this back into pounds, so we do 80 divided by 1.25, which gets you £64. For this question, it's a good idea to draw a number line and mark the number 3.17 in the middle. The number below this will be 3.16, and above it 3.18. We can now see that this region here represents our error interval. The lower bound of this will be 3.165, and the upper bound 3.175. So they're the bounds for our answer. In this question, we're told the height of a rectangle to its width is in the ratio 3 to 10. But we know the height of the rectangle, it's 6 centimeters. So this ratio has been times by 2, so do 10 times 2 and you get 20. So the width of the rectangle is 20 centimeters. We're also told the height of the rectangle to the height of the square is in the ratio 1 to 2. So if we write this ratio out, again we know the height of the rectangle is 6, so this time we multiply by 6. 2 times 6 is 12, this means the height of the square is 12. We need to find the area of the rectangle to the area of the square. The area of the rectangle is just 20 times 6, which is 120, and the area of the square is 12 times 12, which is 144. If you write these in a ratio, we can then simplify it. If you divide these by 2, you'll get 60 and 72. And if you divide those by 12, you'll get 5 to 6, which is the answer to the question. For this question, take a piece of tracing paper and trace the shape. It says we're going to rotate it around the origin, so we put a cross on the origin, and this is where you place your pen. Then turn the tracing paper 1/4 turn in a clockwise direction like this, and then draw the resulting shape and label it A. For part B, we're also going to use tracing paper, so take some tracing paper and trace the shape again, but this time we're doing a translation. The vector 5, 4 means to move 5 right and 4 up. So we move this shape 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 up, and draw the resulting shape and label this one B. In this question, it takes 30 minutes to mow a lawn that's 8 by 10. An 8 by 10 lawn is 8 times 10, which is 80 meters squared. The larger lawn that we need to mow though is 32 by 17, so 32 times 17 is 544 meters squared. We need to know how many times bigger the larger lawn is compared to the smaller lawn. To do this, we do 544 divided by 80, which gets you 6.8. So the lawn is 6.8 times larger, so it will take 6.8 times as long. So the smaller lawn took 30 minutes, so 30 times 6.8 gives you 204 minutes. Since there are 60 minutes in an hour, this is the same as 3 hours and 24 minutes. In this question, we're converting meters squared into centimeters squared. You need to know that 1 meter squared is the same as 10,000 centimeters squared. It's not the same as 100, that's if you're doing meters to centimeters, but this is meters squared to centimeters squared. We need to find 5.2 meters squared, so we're timesing by 5.2, so 10,000 times 5.2 is 52,000. To solve these simultaneous equations, I'm going to write the first equation as it already is, but for the second one multiply by 3. 3x times 3 is 9x, negative 2y times 3 is negative 6y, and 14 times 3 is 42. I can now add the equations together. 2x add 9x is 11x, 6y add negative 6y gives 0, and then 2 add 42 gives 44. So we have 11x equals 44, which means if we divide both sides by 11, we get x equals 4. We then pick one of the equations to write out again but substitute x in. I'm going for the first one. So I'm going to substitute x for 4, so it's 2 lots of 4 plus 6y equals 2. 2 lots of 4 is 8, so we have 8 plus 6y equals 2. If we subtract 8 from both sides, we get 6y. 2 take away 8 is negative 6, in which case y is negative 1. So the answers are x equals 4 and y is negative 1. Thank you for watching this video, I hope you found it useful. I've included some rough grade boundaries here so you can get an idea of how well you've done. Remember, we won't know the real grade boundaries until after the exams are done. Check out what video I think you should watch next, and also subscribe so you don't miss out on more uploads.